Imagine a submarine that vanishes mid-hunt, only to reappear exactly where the enemy isn't looking. For decades, the US Navy has played a game few others even understand, a mix of stealth, tech, and sheer unpredictability that's left rival commanders blinking at blank radar screens. Carriers sunk without a sound, submarines popping up where they were never supposed to be. And it's not just tactics, it's budget-backed dominance. Over $160 billion is going into next-gen subs like Columbia and SSN. Billions more into drones, AI, and underwater comms the public doesn't even know exist. And what's worse for rival fleets? The US is only getting better at humiliating navies without firing a shot. Let's dive into how the US went from dominant to untouchable. The Silent Hunter's new playbook. The US doesn't have the most submarines, but it has the ones everyone else worries about. That fear started in the Cold War when US fast attack subs quietly followed Soviet ballistic missile subs across oceans for days, sometimes weeks, without ever being spotted. The Soviets knew they were being tracked, they just never knew when. That tension was the whole point. Then came Seawolf in the 90s, the answer to Soviet advances in speed and depth. Built for high-threat waters and under-ice missions, it pushed every spec the Navy had: 35 knots underwater, test depth over 1,600 feet, nearly silent pump jet propulsion. It was the most advanced sub in the world. And at $3 billion per boat, it nearly broke the budget. Only 3 were built, but Seawolf proved something important. Unmatched stealth wins even if it's expensive. The lesson carried forward. Today's Virginia-class replaced Seawolf as the workhorse. Quieter, cheaper, and modular. With each new block upgrade, it adds more firepower, better sensors, and options for unmanned systems. Block V includes a new payload module, 4 vertical tubes that triple its missile capacity. It can now launch 65 Tomahawk cruise missiles from deep water without surfacing or warning. At the same time, the Navy is building Columbia-class, its new nuclear deterrent. Bigger than Ohio-class, powered by a life-of-ship reactor that never needs refueling. Equipped with 16 Trident 2D5 missiles capable of hitting anywhere on Earth. The first boat alone will cost over $15 billion, and because stealth isn't optional when you're carrying nukes. But here's the shift. Being quiet isn't enough anymore. Today's threats don't just come from sonar, they come from satellites, signal triangulation, even commercial ship tracking databases. The oceans are more watched than ever, so the mission isn't just to hide, it's to adapt. That's why the Navy's next step, SSNX, isn't just about making a better sub, it's about building one that can outthink the threat. Ghost in the machine, stealth beyond sonar. The next-gen subs are designed to disappear from everything. Sound, sight, even suspicion. First, acoustic stealth. Every US fast attack sub now runs a pump jet propulsion system. Instead of a traditional propeller, it reduces cavitation, the tiny air bubbles that scream on sonar. Internal components are raft-mounted to isolate vibrations. Hull coatings absorb sound. Seawolf was the quietest sub in the world when it launched. Virginia Block V is quieter. Next, non-acoustic stealth. Subs are now built to reduce infrared signatures, magnetic signatures, even wake turbulence. Columbia-class boats use electric drive systems to eliminate noisy mechanical gears. Some systems manage heat rejection so that thermal sensors on satellites pick up nothing. Others tune magnetic signature cancellation so the sub blends with the Earth's field MAD aircraft. Useless. And in the background, electronic discipline. No unnecessary signals, no pings. No data unless it's encrypted, timed, and bounced through a dozen relays. A single slip can light up a sub's position. But US boats run operations that simulate entire formations without saying a word. In RIMPAC 2018, a single Los Angeles-class submarine reportedly sank the entire mock carrier strike group during the exercise, including the aircraft carrier itself, without ever being tracked. In another NATO wargame, a Swedish Gotland-class sub, leased by the US Navy for training, penetrated defenses and scored simulated hits on a US carrier multiple times. But when US boats play offense, reports show Virginia-class subs have gone undetected through entire multi-nation drills. Foreign surface ships didn't even realize a US sub had been shadowing them until it surfaced behind them after the drill. So, when your adversary's best sensors can't even prove you were there, that's not stealth. That's psychological warfare. Asymmetric advantage, drones, data, and decoys. The US Navy is not just building a better submarine, it is building a platform to control the fight before the first shot is fired. SSNX, the Navy's next-generation attack sub, is still on the drawing board, but the scale is set. The first boat could cost more than $5.8 billion, with the full program likely to exceed $100 billion. That money is not for speed alone. Today's submarines can already launch Blackwing UAVs, small folding wing drones that deploy from 3-inch torpedo tubes. Each costs about $250,000, scouts up to 30 miles, and transmits ISR data back to the sub without surfacing underwater. Heavier platforms like the Razorback UUV handle sonar mapping and surveillance. They deploy and recover from torpedo bays and operate completely uncrewed. Now entering the test phase are Yellow Moray-class UUVs, designed for longer missions and deeper ranges. A move towards sustained autonomous operations lasting multiple weeks. To control it all, the Navy is spending big. The 2025 defense budget includes over $500 million for unmanned undersea vehicles, with another $1.3 billion tagged for integration systems, AI control, and sensor fusion over the next 5 years. That's the logic of asymmetric advantage. Send the drone, not the crew. Spoof the sensor, not the missile. Disappear, then decide what comes next. Everything runs through JADC2, the Pentagon's next-gen battlefield network. A submarine doesn't fight alone, it sees what a drone saw an hour ago, what a satellite caught 2 orbits back, and what another sub might have pinged and passed along. Undersea mind games. In Sea Dragon 2021, a 5-nation anti-submarine warfare drill held near Guam, U.S. Navy teams didn't just win, they outpaced the field. Sub-hunting crews from Australia, India, Japan, and Canada each operated capable maritime patrol aircraft. But the USP-8A Poseidon teams consistently completed full kill chains, detection, tracking, classification, and engagement, up to 40% faster than their closest competitor. Why? Because the US isn't just using better sensors, it's using a better system. Sub-hunting used to mean one aircraft with a sonobuoy rack, listening and flying blind. Now it means networked operations. The US links data from multiple P-8s, underwater drones, satellite relays, and even submarines, all fed into JADC2, the Pentagon's command and control system for multi-domain combat. The result is fused targeting. One asset detects, another confirms, a third strikes, no delay, no call-in approvals. Just information, processed and acted on in real time. That's how you finish 40% faster, by removing friction, speeding up decisions, and coordinating platforms as one-machine rivals aren't even close. The PLA Navy has added over 20 new ASW frigates and corvettes since 2015, and equipped more than a dozen Y-8Q aircraft with magnetic anomaly detectors and dipping sonar. Their sonar nets, in the South China Sea like the so-called Great Underwater Wall, aim to detect foreign subs entering critical choke points. But even with the gear, the training and coordination lag, Chinese ASW crews still operate platform by platform with limited real-time fusion, and analysts say they remain dependent on fixed routes and predictable patterns. A 2023 RAND report concluded that China's ASW capability remains limited by lack of joint integration and real-time decision loops. Russia's best boats, like the Yasen M classes, are real threats, but the fleet is small. Most Russian ASW patrols still rely on Il-38 aircraft based on 1960s airframes and a fractured sonar grid that rarely extends beyond coastal zones. Their Arctic Harmony system may work in peacetime, but it hasn't shown the ability to track fast-attack US subs during exercises or operations. And their undersea counters, like Belgorod and Poseidon, are less about detection and more about headlines. Russia may fire the biggest torpedo, but that's not the same as knowing where your enemy is. South Korea's KSS-3 boats are advanced diesel-electric subs, with cruise missiles and air-independent propulsion. Germany's 212CD will be among the quietest subs ever built. Australia's future SSN AUKUS subs will be nuclear-powered and state-of-the-art, but none of them bring what the US already fields: a fully deployed data fusion doctrine, AI-assisted sub-tracking across domains, underwater comms that actually work. Drone-enabled real-time ISR sharing. They don't need to fire torpedoes. Just show up where no one expects, then disappear again. If you like invisible fleets, billion-dollar chess moves, and rivals getting ghosted in their own backyard, you're in the right place. Hit subscribe, stay submerged, and we'll keep surfacing the stuff no one talks about.